Attention everyone, the session will start in next 10 minutes. I request everyone to please be seated. Thank you.
Hello, hello. 1 2 3 for mic testing.
Good evening everyone. I request everyone to please be seated. The session will start in next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. The session will start in next few minutes. I request everyone to please be seated.
Check, check, this, check, check, this, check, 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 this. हाँ बता रहे, तो नहीं बता रहे.
I request everyone to please be seated. Our Honorable Chief Minister of
Namaskar, good afternoon everyone. Very soon we are going to start. I'll request everyone to take the seats, please. People who are standing outside, I welcome them. Please come and take your seats. Honorable CM of Odisha would be joining very soon. Meanwhile, I'll request all our distinguished speakers to come on the dais so that we can also be there on the dais when Honorable CM comes. Okay, I'll request my team to again pursue the people who are standing near the door to come in and sit down. I thank the speakers for their cooperation. The program is like this. Honorable CM would come and then we will begin with a very short presentation and also welcoming address. After that, we will request our Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, to pitch the context. Then we have some MOUs to be signed in presence of Honorable CM. After that, Honorable CM will address the gathering. Before that, if time permits, we'll also request some of our ambassadors from the industries who would be able to speak very briefly about Odisha, a couple of sentences so that people will be encouraged. Then we will close the initial session. Then the panel discussion will continue. And most of the industry captains and innovators who are sitting here would like to have the interaction with us. We will continue to be here and we can have one-to-one talk after the meeting is over. So I'll request everyone to come in and take the seat. Once we settle, maybe I'll request Honorable CM to join us. Kaustubh, people who are there inside? I'll request, please, gentlemen, please, why don't you sit down? There are a lot of seats here. I'll request whoever is there outside, please come and take the seat. Some volunteers can move them. Suman, please make sure that people will come and sit down, take the seats very quickly. Please sit down, please sit down. So please come front, there are plenty of seats. I'll request once again our volunteers to get the people who are standing just outside the door. Maybe, sir, we will request Honorable CM. He's just in the adjacent room, so we can call him. You can continue.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here and welcome you all for the Odisha State Session on Port-led Development in Odisha, a Perspective Plan for 2047. I would like to welcome our chief guest, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Sri Mohan Charan Maji, Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha. Sri Manoj Ahuja, IAS, Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha. Sri Hemant Sharma, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Industries and INPR Department, Government of Odisha. Srimati Usha Pade, IAS, Principal Secretary, Commerce and Transport Department and Housing and Urban Development Department, Government of Odisha. Shri P.L. Harnath, IRTS, Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, Government of India. Shri Santosh Kumar Mohapatra, retired IAS, former Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, former Chairman, Dhamra Port, Vizhinjam Port. Shri Subrat Tripathi, President Business Development, APSEZ. Shri Rinkesh Roy, Joint MD and CEO, JSW Infrastructure. Captain Ashok Mahapatra, Director, Maritime Safety Division, International Maritime Organization. Shri Devendra Thakkar, Chief Executive Officer of Dhamra Port Company Limited. I would like to invite Shri Padmalochan Raul, Director of Ports, to felicitate our chief guest, Shri Mohan Charan Maji, Honorable Chief Minister, Government of India. Also, Shri Padmalochan Raul sir will felicitate all the other guests on the stage.
I respectfully welcome Honorable CM Odisha and all the guests on the dais. Considering the paucity of time, we are skipping the felicitation at this stage, but before we leave this stage, all the distinguished guests will be felicitated by our team. As per the agenda, we have a brief welcome address. I'll start with that and then make a small presentation, and then I'll request our Honorable Chief Secretary to come and give the context. Honorable CM of Odisha, under whose guidance Odisha is marching ahead. Honorable Chief Secretary, who is our team leader. My colleague, Additional Chief Secretary Industries. Our colleague and having a gem among the, heading the gem among the ports, Sri Harinathan ji. All my industry captains here who have come all the way as an ambassadors of Odisha to say and share their experiences before you. I welcome all of them. Special welcome to all the invitees who are sitting here. My colleague Shashwat, Manoj Sahu, all are also joining from the Odisha administration. I welcome everyone. As I said, we will be doing it more professionally because Honorable CM has to go. Then we'll continue with the panel discussion where we'll be available for your discussion. So while welcoming, I'll also make a very brief pitch on the Odisha's context. I'll request the presentation to be moved. So Odisha, as it is mentioned in the morning by Honorable Chief Minister, it is the maritime gateway of Eastern India. We have around 575 kilometers of coastal line and endowed with lot of ports, natural ports. If you compare the other states, we have a natural draft which is not there in adjacent states. Considering that, plus also a lot of water bodies and natural rivers which are providing at least 6 national waterways within the state. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So this is global context. We see that every time we hear the news, we see some changes happening everywhere. So based on those things, India is very highly promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat. So with 11,000 kilometers of coastal line, India has around 13 major ports which are becoming world class gradually. So we can compare it with other countries for the perspective. So maybe with 12,000 kilometer, United Kingdom has just around 16. So in creating the ports, we are not left behind. What we need to do is sustainable and more modernization and capacity enhancement, which certainly will be going ahead. Next, when global context, if you come to Indian context, so we have India Vision, which is prepared at 2030 when Sagarmala was also launched. And now with 2047, India has lot of good goals to achieve. Like last year, we have done extremely well. Morning, Honorable Minister MOPSW was also mentioning about this. Around 855 MMT in 2025. Paradeep stood number 1 in bulk cargo, which is record for consecutive 2 years they have been doing it. We have other ports which are very rapidly expanding. Under PM Gati Shakti, we have also mapped Odisha against the required logistic, and we will be able to rise to that goal which is set up by India 2047. So now, where do Odisha stand in global and national context? If you see the global maritime map, you can see. Long back, very famously it is said, you can change the friends, not the neighbors. So we are strategically in a location where we have a good neighbors. We have southeastern countries which are very strategically located near Odisha. If you go in the hangar where the heritage and the corridor VIP path has been there we have made a sand art which is done by Padma Shri Sudarshan Patnaik. You must visit that thing where it shows how Odisha's long legacy and the voyage heritage has been there. So that is also celebrated even now in Katak, Bali Jatra, every Kartik Purnima. So they knew when to sail the boat, when to return back using the natural winds. So that is how Odisha has that advantage of having the continuous heritage of the voyage. So it is not only about the whatever hinterland I will be talking very briefly, but we have also great advantage of the southeastern country. The Excellency Singapore President had visited India. I think he did not go to any other state. The only state he came was Odisha. I think that was the state which got the premier who came to Odisha just because they thought that this will be very strategic partner. So the same vision, because all of you are visionaries, you will not see what has happened, but what is going to happen. So what has happened is also you can see, and what is going to happen also you can make sure, and you can be part in the growth of Odisha. Now I'll come to some specifics. So if you see this map, this Odisha coastline, which I have just mentioned, around 14 identified port location. Earlier, IIT Madras had done this study, we have identified, but recently again we got the perspective plan done through IIT Madras, which has very clearly told whoever is coming will be able to share that information with you, and even after this, maybe we'll be able to share some of the information because my team would be here. If you see the coastal, I mean, entire economic corridor, it is coinciding with the national highway, that is both NH16 and 55 on both sides, and also along the side you can also have the railway, and then connecting eastern Odisha and western Odisha, the sufficient logistics have been there. And Odisha is one of the state which is putting highest investment in the infrastructure. I think we are above the national average, which is around 3% of the GDP, but Odisha is almost clocking 6% of GDP. I don't think, though you can say that we have a lesser base, but the investment in infrastructure is highest. So wherever you are coming with proposal, I'm sure that my team will be able to put those layers of the logistic requirement along with the projects. In Bhavnagar recently, last month, you must have heard a great announcement where Honorable Prime Minister himself was there. And this was never expected and it was never had been thought of. I mean, it's at such a high level where it was decided that a mega shipbuilding cluster can be done with the help of the Paradip port. This has been done. It has been finalized, around 22,700 crores estimated project cost. As Honorable Prime Minister says, shipbuilding is the mother of all the industries, because once shipbuilding starts, all other industries, whether steel industry, whether it is about any fabrications, everything comes into this industry. So shipbuilding is usually called nowadays as a mother industry of everything. Odisha being the greatest hub of the steel, biggest mine resources, I'm sure that in long run this is going to help us in a big way. And I would like to thank Honorable Chief Minister and Government of Odisha. Again, Odisha is the unique state. It has all the 4 modes of transportation under one department, which is not there, sir. Whether it is a surface transportation of railway and road, and aviation and port is under one department. And also, there are very few women secretary who is heading also, sir. For that also, I thank you. So with this big ship building cluster coming up, there is another very aspirational project. Again, if you go to the Paradip port today, Paradip enclave, which they have created, there they have this prototype of Bahuda port. Again, they have had a very aspirational picture, which is doable. Morning, Honorable CM of Maharashtra was telling that Vadvan is going to strengthen the prowess of India's maritime. So Vadvan, like Vadvan port, our Bahuda port is going to be strengthening the entire maritime prowess of Odisha, not only Odisha, but also India. So we are sure, just now our industry secretary was also mentioning, there are many places where it will be improved gradually. But in Bahuda case, it will be like we have a ready-made land attached to it. We have around 3,000 plus acres of land which is available. Certainly they will be able to immediately pitch the industries, SEZ, all those things are possible. And this is one of the greatest opportunity. This is again proposed to be having an investment of 21,500 crores. Lot of private partnership is also emphasized and expected here. When Honorable CM morning started the meeting, he started with Jai Jagannath, because Odisha, if anybody is identifying Odisha, it is with the Jagannath culture. Jagannath is not only just a, dearest God for Odiyas, but he is also like part of the culture and life. Everyday life doesn't go forward without the Jagannath. It is nothing to deal with any caste, creed or anything. It's about the lifestyle and simplicity and sustainability. That is what it proposes. And to make Puri as one of the spiritual capital, because it is one of the 4 dhams in the country. So anybody who is having a faith, they would be coming. So that would be a place where we can have the cruise terminal, for which place have been identified, and that is also with the help of Paradip Port. I think we are in the process of preparing the DPR already, and we may be signing the MOU today. Then again, some more specifics. This is a National Waterway 5, which is bringing the hinterland to the ports. Again, this is one of the very aspirational project, and we have been talking about this, but now it is poised to take off. Already cabinet approval has been there, so now we have to now identify the partners, and it's a huge opportunity to make this project realistic. Here, it is very futuristic, and in IIT Madras study, it has been shown that NW5 would be one of the most feasible project in the countries as far as the inland water is concerned because of the depth availability. So a lot of terminals, lot of other activities, logistic parks, everything can be part of this initiative. Again, skill development, maybe when Honorable Chief Secretary mentions, you can also talk about this, sir. Odisha has been the lighthouse for the skill development. It's the state which first had the MOU with Institute of Technology of Singapore, and the skill development which is happening in Odisha has the global standards. So that is how we are doing. We have 2 Maritime Institute which can be boasted of. I think when Mr. Subrat Tripathi was there, he was also promoting Odisha Maritime Academy, which is available in Paradip. Again, we have a true training institution, what we call CTI, in Bhadrak. So both we will be able to utilize, and the PPP opportunity is there, and we are ready. Our new Odisha, or Odisha, Nuva Odisha, what we call, we have a program where anybody would like to skill the manpower, where Odisha is abundant with skilled manpower. You can want to poise them to the industry-specific program. That scheme will allow you to tailor-made the program for your industries, provided our youth get linkage to the employment. So for that, Odisha can go to maximum extent to work with the industry partners. So these are the few opportunities which I was talking as per the Maritime Perspective Plan, which is prepared by IIT Center of Excellence in Madras. They have given this, what is the maximum capacity with the first phase, what they can do, what is the draft availability. They have done a brief study. These studies are available with us. My direct report would be the in charge of that. Certainly you can be contacting and you can be getting as much information possible for you. Very quickly, I'll close this, where we can mention, as I mentioned, diverse mineral resources. We are very, very endowed, and we are blessed with many mineral resources. Chromite, 92%, 96% of chromite in Odisha. So that is the reason why we can link it with the cargo, which is bulk cargo. We are number 1. Then integrated infrastructure, as I said, we have a single window systems for both industries, and we have Odisha Maritime Board, which is also set up to have the single window clearances. Skilled workforce, I have spoken. Holistic ecosystem, which I said, again, at the district level, at the state level, and Honorable CM level, the clearances are done in go swift in a single platform, which is again strengthened through the digital platforms. So this is again a very brief understanding what I talked about the global strategic point, but at the same time, if you see the hinterland, already there have been a good advantages for the Odisha port. If you see in a ballpark figure, I say 500 kilometers of lead benefit you get, around 8 hours of lead benefit you get if we have a proper infrastructure linked. So our ports would be able to take this hinterland entirely starting from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, the entire belt where our minor minerals are there, that can be covered through Odisha. And I would like to say that it is not only about the industry which we are talking, in otherwise also Odisha is doing very well. I think Odisha is one state which has brought many people from below poverty line. In recent time, we have one of the state which has a rapid growth in bringing these people under the poverty, they going ahead and becoming a sustainable livelihood. And in recently, with the help of the Niti Ayog, there have been a process of creating the economic regional plans. So this is also going to help in eastern Odisha, western Odisha, wherever we have the industrial built, the entire urbanization is going to happen in a very systematic way. Competitive advantage, I have just mentioned about it. So more detail if you want, we can do further deep diving in this. As Damra CEO is also sitting here, they have the, I think, a very good natural draft around 18 meters or so, which can take a bigger vessels, which can be easily parking there, and they have a huge plan of doing it. And I think you have a LNG terminals and extra, which are very technical in nature. And this is one just small Gati Shakti layers of infrastructure, which you can see. It is within like a nerve system, eastern, western, railway, NH, and across. There has been there, and the good number of 5 airports also have come, which is like just few years back, only one was there. So in all round, the Odisha's development or growth story is one of the thing which we would be remembering, and we want you to invest in Odisha and grow with us. That has been our appeal. Before I request Honorable Chief Secretary for his keynote address to pitch the context. Always we say, Odisha, whatever you see, it is more than you see, there is something which is non-tangible. As I said, Jagannath culture, it is always said, if you see, it's a maritime at the same heritage. We are tribal state, but at the same time, we are very progressive and transformational. We are also ancient wisdom, but we have the modern vision. So with that modern vision, we would like all of you to join us, and rather we will be joining you in your growth story. Thank you so much, and thanks for being part of this session. Thank you. I'll request Honorable Chief Secretary, sir, to just set the context, sir. Thank you.
A very warm good afternoon to all the delegates who are present here for this session. Our Honorable Chief Minister, who is chairing this session, my colleagues Hemant and Usha, other distinguished colleagues on the dais who have a lot of experience in the maritime sector, other distinguished guests who are present here. We are very thankful to all of you for attending this session. My colleague Usha has given a very detailed presentation on the maritime sector and the government's strategy. I would just very broadly, like to make a, if you can call it a pitch, why should you come to Odisha? Why should you invest in Odisha? I think that's a very fundamental question all of you would have. In tourism, we had a tagline. We would call it Odisha, India's best kept secret. Meaning to say there are a lot of hidden opportunities, unknown opportunities which are existing in Odisha where people are not aware of. And I'll take just 5 minutes in telling you what the government is thinking about it, how we are moving about it, what are our plans actually on the ground, what are we doing. And then definitely you can make up your minds. When the new government came, this government has completed 500 years. Whenever government change, people who are investing always have it in their mind that there will be uncertainty, policy uncertainty, this will happen, that will happen. But I think in these 500 days which have passed, that message or that assurance has gone, and you will find, in fact, the rate of growth of industrialization in Odisha has actually grown. It's actually improved in this last 500 days. In fact, we were taking stock and we found about more than 2 lakh crore worth of projects have been grounded. What I want to say is right from the top, led by the Honorable Chief Minister, we are committed to what we say. Our commitment to industrialization, our commitment to development is there. and we walk the talk. It's not that we are making mere statements. We follow the map, and you could find out if you visit Orissa or if you have knowledge about that we are very, very serious about it. Second is, amongst all the states in India, we are fiscally the best placed state. We are revenue surplus, we have money. And our strategy essentially is to go for upfront investment. One is the capital investment, but if you look at our policies, we have one of the best policies in the country. And the Honorable Chief Minister has directed us, in case there is an economic argument, or in case we need to make bespoke policies to attract prime investments, we should do so. So we are committed in that, making your investment viable in Odisha, and we are able to give that. Third is, economies, when they develop, there is always, they reach a stage when we can call it you can call it poised for growth, or you can call it a takeoff stage. When does that happen? What has happened to Odisha, if you look back maybe 2-3 decades back, Odisha also used to be categorized along with Bimaru states. That was a pejorative term, if I may call it, where they would say that these are very poor states and all. But slowly, in terms of socio-economic indicators, in terms of demographic indicators, now Odisha is amongst the middle ranking states. And the rate at which we are growing is faster than our peers here. So we would like to put ourselves in the first 25-30% of the states in India, and we are aiming to do that, we are planning to do that, and the way we are going, I'm sure we'll be able to do that. One of our prime pillars for growth in our vision is urbanization, but what we are more interested in is port-led development. And what do I mean by it? What is there on the anvil? What is there available? You've heard about Paradeep, Usha mentioned. They have done 150 million ton per annum. They already invested, and by 2030, they'll be touching 250 million ton per annum. I'm sure if they push themselves a little bit, maybe 300, depending on our chairman's initiative. But that's the target we are keeping. I think we need to push ourselves to even higher grounds. When we are talking about meeting the demand for ASEAN countries or looking at the entire hinterland, so that is one. We are talking about Dhamra. Dhamra is about 50 million? 50 million. That will go to 150 million. Gopalpur down south, 20 million. Again, 75 million. And these are all things which are there in terms of our capacity of these ports. We have an advantage that both Dhamra and Gopalpur have a 18-meter draft available, so the biggest ships can come there. Now, how do we, a port by itself, as a standalone thing, can also have a lot of multiplier effects, and what are we planning to do? We are developing industrial zones across these. I mean, I'm not mentioning Bahuda and all, which Usha mentioned. Look at Dhamra. There is 7,500 acres of land we are taking up for an industrial zone, for developing that. This is in Dhamra. Paradeep, you would have heard about the petrochemical complex coming up. Huge, huge investment. Indian Oil is making an investment of 58,000 crores. Big investments are coming in. And that whole region, in fact, would be one big industrial zone. Gopalpur, we already have an industrial zone there, a SEZ. We have also got about 1,700 acres of land available, which we are converting into a very modern SEZ there. And then the Bahuda port, which has 5,000 acres. When the port comes, it will come with an industrial. So we have ports, we have areas for industrial zones. And then how do we get the traffic from hinterland? We can cater to Bihar, we can cater to maybe this side of MP, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, draw traffic from other states. Why not from Andhra, by giving them better services? And we realize that we need very good logistics services, which means primarily very good rail connectivity. And we've made a plan for that and an investment for that. Wherever the Government of India, we have a double engine Sarkar, as we call it, the Government of India would be investing in a lot of projects. Others, the state is willing to do it in PPP basis. And that we are finalizing. So very good logistics network, so that any unit set up at a distance from the port would find it economically viable to use these ports. That's actually what I'm saying is laid out. We are investing in it, and you will be able to see the results in these coming 5 days. Now, this is regarding ports, but there are a lot of areas associated with it. A shipbuilding project has been announced, a huge one, 24,000 crores in Paradeep. But we have also identified other areas along the coast where these projects would come up. And many investors are coming. That's a prime area for that. Green hydrogen, Paradeep has been declared a green hydrogen hub. We have got investments. Even we are planning Gopalpur, we've written to Government of India to declare it as a green hydrogen hub. When Honorable Chief Minister went to Singapore, we were talking about a green logistics corridor. Singapore would be one, but if you have ships running on green hydrogen, they would need refueling facilities. So Paradeep, right now on the eastern coast, we don't have. Paradeep could be that corridor. We are talking about tourism. There is so much of potential, and Usha mentioned about cruise terminals, mentioned about inland waterways. They are available, they are mapped. We will go about it. And I mean, there are numerous opportunities which are available, which we hope to convert into something on the ground, into reality on the ground with your interest and your investments. And needless to say, the fact is that we are one of the best ranked states in terms of skilling facilities we provide. We have a maritime academy which we are in a way revamping, get good partners, make it into a global academy where we could give skilling to provide manpower resources which are there. You see, our Honorable Chief Minister repeatedly says one thing, that if what we need is development and employment, and there are no other way. We will not be able to achieve that unless we have a very wide scope of areas where we want to get investment. So we are very agnostic. So we are getting investment in textiles, and the good thing is we are diversifying out of mineral-based industries and all that. Textiles, automobiles, biotech, setting up a pharma park. So there is emphasis on all-around growth in the state, and thereby we hope there will be more jobs created and employment. So our target is that Odisha, from where it is placed now amongst the middle-ranking states, is able to jump forward and inch towards the top-ranked state, and becomes actually a gateway to ASEAN, as we are saying, to East Asia, and also cater to the entire hinterland within the country. And for that, like I said, we have a definite plan, we have activities, we've set aside funds, and with your help and cooperation, we will be able to achieve it. So I would once again request you that please do seriously think about the state. In case you need facts and figures, do come. And we have a very committed leadership and an administrative team. You will find that a lot of work would get out of, you don't have to wait for formal procedures and all. We are committed to ensure that once you come to the state, that your investment bears fruition or actually gets translated into reality very fast. That is a commitment, and thank you once again to all of you for coming here. We look forward for your investment in Odisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the context setting. Ladies and gentlemen, Odisha's journey has always begun with a sea, a tale of courage, commerce, and culture. Today, that legacy charts a bold new course towards maritime renaissance. Let's witness how the land of Kalinga is transformed into India's eastern gateway, where heritage meets opportunities and future set sail.
Odisha's story begins with the sea, a story of courage, commerce, and culture. For centuries, her ships set sail to Bali, Java, and Sumatra, carrying not just goods but the spirit of Kalinga. From this timeless legacy rises a bold new vision to make Odisha the maritime gateway of Eastern India, where heritage meets opportunity and where the future sets sail. Paradeep, a jewel among India's ports, leads the way, strengthened by Dhamra and Gopalpur. New horizons open at Subarnarekha and Ashtaranga. National waterways are unlocking the heartland, connecting factories to harbors. These corridors of commerce are transforming Odisha into a logistic powerhouse, bridging India to the world. Modern jetties are reshaping coastal mobility. State-of-the-art fishing harbors are empowering communities and fueling exports. And along our golden coastlines, vibrancy and river cruise circuits are bringing to life a new era of maritime tourism. At Talsari, Puri, and Gopalpur. From the pristine waters of Chilka to the mangroves of Bhitarkanika. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, India is witnessing a new era of maritime resurgence. Guided by the tireless efforts of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Mohan Charan Majhi, Odisha stands at the forefront of this transformation, aligning the state's ambition with the national vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Odisha takes a decisive leap forward, signing landmark MOUs for a satellite port at Bahuda Muhan and a national shipbuilding cluster at Kendrapada. Odisha is also building for the future of clean energy with green hydrogen and ammonia plants near our ports and a skilled workforce trained at the Odisha's Maritime Academy to power India's self-reliance at sea. Odisha is India's eastern gateway, connecting South Asia with Southeast Asia and steering India's maritime renaissance. The tide is rising in Odisha. The vision is clear, the commitment is strong, and the opportunities are limitless. Odisha, sailing towards a maritime renaissance.
Now we move ahead for a coffee table book release that is showcasing maritime heritage of Odisha and prospering towards port-led development to achieve Viksit Odisha 2036. Now we move ahead with the MOU exchange and signing. MOU between Commerce and Transport Department, Government of Orissa, and Indian Port Association for development of cruise terminal. I would like to call Srimati Usha Pade, IAS, Principal Secretary from Commerce and Transport Department, and Sri Arun Kumar, CAO of Indian Port Association. MOU between Paradip Port Authority. I would like to call PL Harnath, Chairman of Paradip Port Authority, Odisha Maritime Board, Srimati Usha Pade, IAS, Principal Secretary, Commerce and Transport Department. MOU exchange between Berhampur University and Indian Maritime University, Chennai for scientific and educational cooperation. I would like to invite Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Geetanjali Das from Berhampur University and Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. Raju Balaji. Paradip Port Authority signing MOU with IPRCL, Bahuda Satellite Port Rail and Road Connectivity Project. I request representative from DPAC IPRCL to exchange the MOU. MOU with IPRCL for Logistic Park Rail Connectivity Project. I request representative from PPA and IPRCL to exchange the MOUs. PPA signing MOU with IFCO for export and import cargo through Paradip. Representative from PPA and IFCO exchange the MOU. MOU between PPA and NTPC for developing a green hydrogen mobility project. MOU between OSL and PPA for development of multiple profitable ports. May I now take the honor of inviting Honorable Chief Minister of Orissa, Sri Mohan Charan Maji, to kindly grace the dais and share his inspiring vision with us. We eagerly look forward to hearing your thoughts. Please welcome Honorable Chief Minister with huge round of applause.
जय जगन्नाथ। ओडिशा की मुख्य शासन सचिव श्री मनोज आहूजा, अतिरिक्त शासन सचिव अतिरिक्त मुख्य शासन सचिव श्री हेमंत शर्मा, वाणिज्य परिवहन विभाग के मुख्य शासन सचिव श्रीमती उषा पाढ़ी जी, चेयरमैन पारादीप पोर्ट अथॉरिटी PL हरिनाथ, एक्स चेयरमैन पारादीप पोर्ट अथॉरिटी श्री संतोष महापात्र, पूर्वतन चेयरमैन धामरा पोर्ट श्री सुब्रत त्रिपाठी, CEO धामरा पोर्ट देवेंद्र ठाकर, CEO JSW श्री रिंकेश राय, बंदरगांव क्षेत्रों के इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स, विशेषज्ञगण और स्टेक होल्डर्स, विशिष्ट अतिथिगण और गणमाध्यम के बंधुगण, नमस्कार। आज सवेरे इंडिया मैरीटाइम वीक 2025 का उद्घाटन माननीय केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री श्री अमित शाह जी की गरिमामय उपस्थिति में संपन्न हुआ है। अभी हम ओडिशा सेशन में हमारा विजन के बारे में डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं। इस कार्यक्रम में आप सबका स्वागत है। आप सबको मालूम है कि लगभग 16 महीने पहले हमारी सरकार ओडिशा में आया है और डबल इंजन के नाते ओडिशा के लोगों को लगता है कि पिछले 2.5 दशक हमारे राज्य के लिए टू कोर्स डिकेट्स था। कारण ये सोच है कि ओडिशा की जो ट्रू पोटेंशियल है उसका सही तरीका से उपयोग नहीं किया गया है। हमारी सरकार वो स्थिति में परिवर्तन तेजी से ला रहा है। इसी साल जनवरी में ओडिशा की उत्कर्ष ओडिशा मेक इन ओडिशा कॉन्क्लेव 2025 हमारी संकल्प का वो प्रमाण है। पहले ओडिशा की बंदरगाह प्रमुख रूप में ओडिशा के खनिज संपद एक्सपोर्ट के लिए इस्तेमाल होता था। हमारा सरकार अब ओडिशा की बंदरगाहों को ओडिशा में निर्मित दूसरी सामग्री की एक्सपोर्ट के लिए भी उपयोग करेंगे। इसी दिशा में हम लोग अभी कार्यरत हैं। ओडिशा में विकास को एक नया गति देने के लिए हम लोग एक विजन डॉक्यूमेंट बनाए हैं। विजन डॉक्यूमेंट 2036 और 2047। 2036 में जब ओडिशा एक स्वतंत्र प्रदेश के नाते 100 साल पूरी करेगी तब हम $500 बिलियन अर्थनीति बनाएंगे और 2047 तक हमारा इकोनॉमी 1.5 ट्रिलियन डॉलर तक पहुंचेंगे। यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी इस विजन डॉक्यूमेंट को इसी साल जब उनका 6ठा बार उड़ीसा की आगमन हुआ था और हमारा सरकार की 1 साल की हम मना रहे थे उत्सव के नाते जून 20 तारीख को और स्वयं प्रधानमंत्री ने उन्मोचन किए थे। मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि हमारे इस विजन के केंद्र में पोर्ट लेड डेवलपमेंट ही है। प्रधानमंत्री जी उनके पूर्वोदय की परिकल्पना में ओडिशा को सबसे ज़्यादा महत्व दे रहे हैं और इसके लिए बंदरगाह का विकास हमारा पूरे फोकस में है। बंगाल की खाड़ी में हमारा 575 किलोमीटर कोस्ट लाइन में हम एक नई सवेरा देख रहे हैं। अगर मुंबई देश के वेस्टर्न मैरीटाइम गेटवे बनी है तो हम उड़ीसा को ईस्टर्न मैरीटाइम गेटवे ऑफ इंडिया बनाने जा रहे हैं। आर्थिक विकास, परिवेश अनुकूल अभिवृद्धि और समावेशी विकास के साथ हम उड़ीसा के ब्लू इकोनॉमी की अपार संभावनाओं को रूपायन करना चाहते हैं। आज का ये सेशन का जो टॉपिक है, पोर्ट लेड डेवलपमेंट प्रोस्पेक्टिव प्लान फॉर 2047, ये हमारा उड़ीसा के लिए एक ऐसा रोड मैप है जो हमको पूर्वी भारत में मैरीटाइम गेटवे बनाएगा और देश की ब्लू इकोनॉमी में हमारे लिए एक प्रमुख भूमिका निभाएगा। आज हमारा पोर्ट कैपेसिटी सालाना 80 मिलियन टन है। 2047 तक हम इसको 500 मिलियन टन तक बढ़ाने का लक्ष्य रखा है। इससे हमारा $1.5 ट्रिलियन अर्थनीति बनने का जो बड़ा लक्ष्य है, इसे पूरी करने में सहयोग और सफलता हमको निश्चित रूप से मिलने वाला है। हमारा इस स्ट्रैटेजी के केंद्र में एक सुदृढ़ मल्टी पोर्ट नेटवर्क की योजना है। पारादीप जो देश के एक प्रमुख बंदरगाह है, इसको हम एक ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन हब के रूप में विकसित करने जा रहे हैं। छोटे छोटे बंदरगाहों के साथ अस्तरंग और सुवर्णरेखा में डीप सी पोर्ट्स बन रहे हैं। जटाधार मुहान में एक कैप्टिव जेटी बन रहा है। इसके साथ बाहुदा में पारादीप का एक सैटेलाइट पोर्ट बनेगा, जिसके हम आज कई सारी प्रोजेक्ट को इसी बाहुदा का अंतर्गत हमने MOU साइन आज करते हुए हम आगे लेने के लिए कई सारी निष्पत्ति ले चुके हैं। बाहुदा में पारादीप का सैटेलाइट जो पोर्ट बनेगा और इसकी कैपेसिटी सालाना 150 मिलियन टन होगा। ये सब परियोजना हमारे मैरीटाइम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और कनेक्टिविटी को सुदृढ़ बनाएगा। बंदरगाहों के विकास को हम उड़ीसा के उद्योग और अर्थनीतिक अभिवृद्धि के साथ जोड़ रहे हैं। हमारा कोस्टल एरिया में हम कोस्टल इकोनॉमिक जोन बना रहे हैं। केंद्रापड़ा में महानदी शिप बिल्डिंग हब बनाने के लिए कदम लिया जा रहा है, जिसमें से हम अभी 25,000 करोड़ इसके लिए हमारा प्रोजेक्ट का भी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उसको अप्रूवल दिए हैं। ये सब प्रोजेक्ट भारत को विश्व में एक प्रमुख शिप बिल्डिंग देश बनाने में एक बड़ी भूमिका निभाएगी। भारत सरकार हमारा देश की शिप बिल्डिंग और मैरीटाइम कैपेबिलिटी को पुनर्जीवित करने के लिए कोई सारी सहायता दे रहे हैं। इसके लिए $8 बिलियन के पैकेज भी घोषणा की गई है। इसके साथ अब सारे विश्व जीरो एमिशन इकोनॉमी के तरफ बढ़ रहा है। जीरो कार्बन वेसल्स, फ्यूल्स और जीरो कार्बन टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर फोकस भी बढ़ रहा है। इस संदर्भ में कहना चाहूँगा, उड़ीसा में अब बहुत सारे अवसर है। पारादीप ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन हब तो बन रहा है। इसके साथ अभी गोपालपुर में भारत के सबसे बड़ा ग्रीन अमोनिया प्रोजेक्ट भी बन रहा है। उड़ीसा में कई सारे ग्रीन अमोनिया और सोलर एनर्जी प्रोजेक्ट्स शुरू हो चुकी है या शुरू होने वाला है। इसलिए इंटरनेशनल मैरीटाइम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का जो लक्ष्य है कि 2050 तक ग्लोबल मैरीटाइम इंडस्ट्री को नेट जीरो एमिशन इंडस्ट्री बनाएगा। इसमें से उड़ीसा को एक बहुत बड़ी भूमिका होगी। हमारा मैरीटाइम और ग्रीन एनर्जी इकोसिस्टम के साथ हम ग्लोबल मैरीटाइम इंडस्ट्री में एक की प्लेयर बन सकेंगे। इस व्यापक एक्सपांशन के लिए हम उड़ीसा मैरीटाइम बोर्ड गठन किया है और उड़ीसा पोर्ट पॉलिसी 2025 भी लागू की गई है। बोट्स मॉडल और मेराइन स्पेशल प्लानिंग जैसे इनोवेटिव पहल भारत की किसी भी तटीय राज्य में पहली बार हमने लागू की जा रही है। इसके जरिए उड़ीसा एक पारदर्शी, कुशल और निवेश के लिए तैयार समुद्री प्रशासनिक ढांचा प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं। हमारे ब्लू इकोनॉमी का दृष्टिकोण केवल औद्योगिक विकास तक सीमित नहीं है। हम एक ऐसी भविष्य का निर्माण कर रहे हैं जिसमें निरंतर अभिवृद्धि हो और ये अभिवृद्धि समावेशी होगा और संतुलित भी होगा। सामुद्रिक व्यापार, फिश फार्मिंग, एक्वा कल्चर, रिन्यूएबल ओशन एनर्जी और कोस्टल टूरिज्म, हम हर पहल में विकास और पर्यावरण में संतुलन रखना चाहते हैं। आप सब जानते ही होंगे कि पुरी धाम महाप्रभु श्री जगन्नाथ जी की पवित्र नगरी है। पुरी को हम एक विश्व स्तरीय क्रूज टर्मिनल के रूप में विकसित कर रहे हैं और इसी आधार पर पुरी शहर को भी हमने अभी, जैसे वो आज शहर भी बड़ा बन रहा है और म्यूनसिपाल्टी था, उसको भी हमने म्यूनसिपाल्टी कॉरपोरेशन के नाते भी हमने कुछ महीने पहले हम उसको डिक्लेरेशन हम किए हैं और इसी आधार पर हमने उसको भी सारी उनका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को और सारी प्रोजेक्ट को कैसे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा डेवलप किया जाएगा इसी आधार पर, और हर प्रोजेक्ट को जैसे हमने एक पुरी में महाप्रभु जगन्नाथ के आधार पर एक बहुत बड़ा इंटरप्रिटेशन सेंटर, एक हमारा जो म्यूजियम और उसके साथ साथ सारी कोई प्रोजेक्ट हमने वहाँ बना रहे हैं जैसे वर्ल्ड क्लास की जैसे होगा। और इसी आधार पर भी हम सारी इन्वेस्टरों को भी बुलाने के बाद वहाँ कैसे इन्वेस्टमेंट ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हो, और इसी आधार पर हमने जो क्रूज टर्मिनल जो बना रहे हैं पुरी के आधार पर, पुरी के पास जो इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट बनने जा रहा है और उनके साथ में क्रूज टर्मिनल और पारादीप पोर्ट से लेकर पुरी तक क्रूज का जो जैसे हमने एक बहुत बड़ा इको टूरिज्म सिस्टम का चिल्का लेक तक कर रहे हैं। निश्चित रूप से अगले दिन में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा भी इन्वेस्ट वहाँ होगा और साथ में आप लोगों का सहयोग जब आएगा निश्चित रूप से उड़ीसा जैसे संभावना के राज्य है भारतवर्ष का, जो मोदी जी का सपना है वो भी निश्चित रूप से साकार होने जा रहा है। उड़ीसा की समुद्री विरासत जितनी प्राचीन है उतनी ही आधुनिक भी है। कलिंग की नाविकों की ऐतिहासिक समुद्र यात्राओं से लेकर आज के औद्योगिक गलियारों तक सागर सदैव हमारी प्रगति की प्रेरणा रहा है। हमारी प्रतिबद्धता है, विकास भी विरासत भी। आज नहीं, कई 2000-2500 से पहले जैसे हमारा कलिंग की हमारा सब साधवपुओ बोलते हैं, और जैसे नौ वाणिज्य करने के लिए बैत के साथ जैसे आज हमारा जो उड़ीसा पेविलियन में जैसे एक अच्छा बैत, जैसे उसको हम क्या बोलते हैं, बैत को नौका बोलते हैं, और इसी आधार पर जैसे आज बनाया गया हमारा जो भाई लोगों ने बनाए हैं वो आप जो भी आप स्टॉल में जाके देखिए कई भी पेविलियन में ऐसे कहीं नहीं आएगा, और हमारा इतिहास ही ऐसा है। इसलिए हमने बोले हमारा विकास भी और विरासत भी सागर से समृद्धि की भावना से प्रेरित होकर हम उड़ीसा को ग्लोबल मैरीटाइम हब और ब्लू इकोनॉमी के विकास में एक मॉडल के रूप में प्रस्तुत करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। जब इंडोनेशिया का बाली में एक प्रोग्राम में संग हमारा यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी वहाँ गए थे, वहाँ बाली से वो उनका जो अभिभाषण था वहाँ इसमें से वो बोल रहे थे, उसी टाइम में ही हमने हमारा उड़ीसा का कटक की जो महानदी के तट पर हमने जो बाली यात्रा शुरू कर रहे थे, उसके ऊपर बाली के नाम पर उड़ीसा का कटक की जैसे बाली यात्रा ऐतिहासिक, और उसमें से भी हमने कई सारी देशों का जो हमारा हाई कमिश्नर और एम्बेसडर लोग आते हुए बाली यात्रा को देखने के लिए, और कैसे वो आज नहीं 2000 साल के पहले ऐसे हमारा इतना संबद्ध था नौ वाणिज्य का आधार पर, वो हमारा संबद्ध वाणिज्य करने के लिए आज भी वो इसे हम उसके आधार पर हमने वो उत्सव भी हम मना रहे हैं और बाली यात्रा भी हम कर रहे हैं। और उड़ीसा के तट पर जैसे हमारा चिलिका लेक एक प्रमुख इको टूरिज्म केंद्र के रूप में उभर रही है। हम मेराइन, लग्जरी क्रूज और वाटर स्पोर्ट्स की भित्तिभूमि का विकास के लिए भी निवेश को प्रोत्साहित कर रहे हैं। ओडिशा की समुद्री विरासत जितनी प्राचीन है, हम इसके बारे में आपके पास जो प्राचीन के बारे में बोल चुके हैं। निश्चित रूप से आज आधुनिकता इसी आधार पर भी हमने करने के लिए हमारा एक नहीं, दो नहीं, जो हमने बोल रहे थे 575 किलोमीटर जो हमारा कोस्ट लाइन है, इसी आधार पर 14 का ऐसे एक स्पॉट हमने चिन्हित किए हैं कि 14 का 14 पोर्ट हम बना सकते हैं, या उसको लेते हुए जेटी भी बनाते हुए हम ब्लू इकोनॉमी को भी हम बढ़ावा दे सकते हैं। मैं सभी निवेशकों को, भागीदारों और उद्योगी साथियों को सादर निमंत्रण देता हूं कि आप लोग ओडिशा के साथ जुड़ें, निवेश करें, सहयोग करें और साथ मिलकर ओडिशा सरकार के साथ मिलकर आगे बढ़ें। आइए हम सब मिलकर एक ऐसा समुद्री भविष्य बनाएं जो समृद्ध हो, समावेशी भी हो। आने वाले वर्षों में भारत विश्व की सबसे सशक्त समुद्री अर्थव्यवस्था के रूप में स्थापित हो और मोदी जी के विकसित भारत 2047 की संकल्पों को साकार करने में योगदान दे। ओडिशा में आप सबका सादर स्वागत है। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद। वंदे उत्कल जननी।
Thank you so much, sir, for your speech. I would like to invite Shri Bidhan Chandra Roy, OAS, Additional Secretary, Commerce and Transport Department, Government of Odisha, for a vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Minister, Odisha, respected Chief Secretary, Sir, respected Additional Chief Secretary, Industries, respected Principal Secretary, Commerce and Transport Department, distinguished speakers on the dais, Sri P.L. Harinath, Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, Sri Santosh Kumar Mahapatra, former Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, Sri Subrat Tripathi, President and Business Development Head, APSEZ, Sri Rinkesh Roy, CEO, JSW, Infrastructure, Captain Ashok Mahapatra, former Director, Maritime Safety, International Maritime Organization, Sri Devendra Thakur, CEO, Dhamra Port Company Limited, esteemed Captains of Industry, senior officials, dignitaries, guests, and dear friends from media. It's an honor and privilege to have you in our state session of IMW 2025. Our journey towards a prosperous blue economy is shaped and inspired by the glory of our ancient mariners. We thank you all for your deep engagement and steadfast commitment towards the grand vision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your vote of thanks. Now we move ahead with a panel discussion on session topic, Port-led Development in Odisha, a perspective for...
I thank sincerely our Honorable Chief Minister for sparing time. So he has to catch the flight, so he will be leaving. But all of us will continue to be seated. We will continue the panel discussion. I'll also thank Honorable Chief Secretary, but we'll continue the panel. I'll request all the participants just to be seated. Please be seated. Please be seated. We'll just see them off and we'll discuss. I'll request the... So I'll request comparer to just call the participants once again.
I request the panelists to please come on stage. I request everyone to please seated. To continue our panel discussion, we need your attention. I request everyone to please be seated. I request all the panelists to come on the stage.
Namaskar. I'll request all the participants to be seated. Just we'll start the discussion.
Now we move ahead with a panel discussion on session topic Port-led Development in Odisha, a perspective for 2047. This session will be moderated by Srimati Usha Padi, IAS Principal Secretary, Commerce and Transport Department of Odisha, with other panelists present on the dais.
Thank you, everyone. Industry Secretary is seeing of the Honorable Chief Minister, so he would have started the keynote, but because the time is also less, and as CM left the room, so many people also left behind him. So, but I'm sure that people who are available here, they are a very valued audience for us, because you have the interest and you have been interested, shown interest to listen to all of us. So of course, if you want to come forward and take some of the seats in the front rows, you are most welcome. But let me be very sure, assure you that this will be very, what we call, very professional way we will try to do, so that we'll not take too much of time in going around the bush. I will request all the panelists who are here, they have invested their lifetime in Odisha. So they have contributed to the growth of Odisha. They are all here because of their passion, not for anything else. So I'm sure that when they say, which comes from the heart, I think it will also touch the hearts of the people who have the same wavelength. So I'll request them very briefly, around within 5 minutes, they can share their thoughts. Then I'll open the house if anybody wants any specific topic to be asked or clarified, they can ask. So I'll go, may not be on seniority, but as per the convenience. Dr. Santosh Mahapatra is sitting next to me. He has a huge experience of working in Odisha. The advantage of him is he has worked inside the government as an Indian administrative officer, and also he has worked in the private sector. So I'm sure that he knows where the shoe pinches. And also the karma theory, the things will come back. So he will be able to explain how the government works and how Odisha works and how he had the experience of setting up the Damra when he started. Thank you so much, sir. It's over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Padi, and the Honorable Additional Chief Secretary. It's very nice to be part of this celebration called India Maritime Week 2025. Let me start with this, that India has about 28 states, but only 9 states have a coastline. But India is not a landlocked country, which means that the coastline belongs to the entire country. And therefore, when we are talking of the maritime development of a state like Odisha, we are not really talking about Odisha, we are talking about the whole country. And the maritime development of the state goes far beyond its own boundaries. And Odisha has a special importance. The Honorable Chief Minister said we want to make it the gateway of Eastern India. it's actually, the gateway to outside is not as important as the nearness to the inside is more important. Like I told you, 9 states have a coastline. If you draw a line north of Vindhya, which separates these 9 states, the other 28 states, other 19 states will be north of this line. Let's put a middle line and divide them into west-north and east-north. The nearest coastline from west-north is Gujarat. And that is how Gujarat has become, not Bombay, but Gujarat has become the state with the highest number of ports.
Sorry, Michiel's, like, how could I? This goes so for me without saying that I forget about you. Michiel Smit is of the Netherlands.
Somebody speaking?
AV team, please look into it if there is any cross connection. I think some other hall was connected here. Sorry for that, sir.
I was wondering, ये आकाशवाणी कहाँ से है? So, I mean, Gujarat has therefore the highest cargo handling. In fact, perhaps 1/3 of India's cargo is handled in the Gujarat coast. On the east-north, Odisha's coast is the nearest to the entire east-north for a proper, efficient deep port. Technically, that credit should go to West Bengal, but as we know, most part of that coast is estuarian and not suitable for a proper deep and efficient port. So, to put it shortly, Odisha is to eastern coast what Gujarat is to western coast, but the similarity ends there. In Gujarat, you can start a port with a 5 million capacity and let it grow to 500 million. In fact, Mundra, when it started, I was Secretary Industries Gujarat, it started with just 2 million. 2 berths with 3 to 4 million, and today it is the largest port. We are listing the 13 major ports. It handles much more than any major port, including Paradip perhaps, right? Now, we in Odisha don't have that luxury of making a small port which will grow up to become a big port. Because a port has 2 kinds of infrastructure. One is the core infrastructure, one is the operative infrastructure. The core infrastructure consists of the channel, the breakwater, and the connectivity railway line. In Gujarat, you don't need all 3 of them. You can just build a jetty and start a port because most part of the coast is part of the Gulf, enclosed by 2 land lines, and therefore the tranquility is there. You don't need breakwater. The tidal difference is about 6 to 7 meters. So if you are 5 meter deep, twice a day you get 11 to 12 meters, so you can get middle-sized ships. And the Gujarat is so well-connected railway network wise that you may need only a 10-kilometer siding to join the Indian Railway. Whereas in Odisha, in Dhamra, I had to build a 60-kilometer railway line, which actually turned out to be 100 kilometers because of rail over rail and other requirements these my colleagues here insist upon. And I had to build a 18-kilometer channel to connect the port with where the sea is naturally 18 meters deep. And of course, Dhamra is perhaps one place where we didn't build a breakwater, but on hindsight, I think we should have built a breakwater also. Now, this makes investment in port in Odisha little cost intensive, and therefore the viability starts with something like 20 to 25 million. You cannot have a small port in Odisha. Therefore, I would really like to revisit the IIT Chennai report, how they have proposed so many ports north of Dhamra, between Dhamra and Subarnarekha. Have they measured the distance from the natural depth of the sea to that place where the port is proposed? How long the channel can be? Even a 20-kilometer channel is very difficult to maintain. More than that will be again another operating, heavy burden on operating cost. That is why Subarnarekha port till today is a non-starter. The promoters are still thinking whether they would pour in 20,000, 25,000 crore on such a long channel. But they can do it. They can do it. And my view is no port is costlier than no port. On that basis, it's such a beautiful location, so close to West Bengal, that even with a 12-meter or 13-meter channel, they can get a whole lot of cargo which otherwise cannot enter that part of the country because the riverine port and its limitations. But let's come back to our own plan of 2047. Statistics are boring, but I made my own calculation. Today we are handling 202 million tons, including Paradeep, and our capacity is 370. So, I mean, that way we are less than 60% utilized, nothing to worry about. Ideally, the port capacity should not be utilized more than 66%, because if it is utilized more than 66%, be sure a ship is waiting to get a berth, which is not good for the economy, which is more harmful for the economy. Therefore, in ports, we must have excess capacity. And if we count like that, I was looking at it that our growth rate, what do you call it, CGAR, CAGR of DGP has been for the last 20 years 6%, and the cargo handling by ports is also 6%. So let me assume that port handling should keep pace with the GDP. In fact, before 2008, when Indian DGP was touching 9 plus, it could not touch the 2-digit. And the then Prime Minister said the only constraint was port capacity. And it's true that those days, all the countries all over the world, there was huge waiting time for the ships, except China, which had built excess capacity. That is the beauty of excess capacity in infrastructure, which we must go for. So taking a 66% excess capacity for a 6% growth rate, in 2047, we need a capacity of about 1,040 million ton. But since we are aiming at a 30 trillion economy, if you look at the government of India's, they are assuming a 9% growth rate, right? So if you go by 9% instead of 6%, you may have to have a capacity of 2,030 million tons. So there is scope for more ports. And I can always say port is not like an industry that it should start giving you return and profit from next year or next 3 years onwards. It is a monument. It is for the generations to come. And you must have a deep pocket and a large heart to invest in ports. Otherwise, you should not invest in ports. And that is what I keep telling people who want to build ports at Suvarnareka or wherever. Now, coming back to, let's say, what kind of ports? And as I said, in Odisha, it has to be big ports. But how big? My friend there wants to build a 500 million ton port. I remember long back, once this was discussed in the ministry, and we said that until we have inland waterways or riverine transport to help evacuation from the ports, having a 500 million ton port would exert a serious pressure on the ecosystem of the surrounding area. And the ecosystem of surrounding area of ports in Odisha is very fragile. Unlike again in Gujarat. I keep talking of Gujarat because Gujarat is also my cadre, right? I keep talking about Gujarat because the ecosystem of the surrounding area are very sparsely populated. You can take liberty with it. But in Odisha, the surrounding areas of the ports are one of the most densely populated and very fertile. You cannot have 200 trains and thousands of trucks coming in and going out. So my suggestion is, if you must have a 500, fortunately a lot of it is oil cargo, goes by pipeline. I hope a lot of it in future will be slurry pipeline cargo coming by pipeline. And please, along with your ambition to increase to 500 million ton, expedite that inland waterway number 5 so that a lot of your future cargo goes by waterway and not by road or rail. Otherwise, a 500 million ton port will be a curse, not a blessing for a state like Odisha. This is one thing about how big and what kind of port. These ports must be able to handle all kinds of cargo, dry bulk, break bulk, liquid, we are doing very well, and container. I keep saying, why didn't you write in the concession agreement that one container berth is mandatory? I am sure Adani's and others would have built it and factored it in the cargo handling charge of iron ore or coal, and it would be happening nicely, but we didn't insist on it. I have built 2 ports on PPP basis, one in Odisha and one in Kerala. In Odisha, the concession agreement was 4 pages. In Kerala, it was 400 pages. And it had ISO specification of what kind of berth and what facilities and everything. That is also bad, because when I tried to optimize my cost, they said, no, you cannot change it, because somebody will go to court. So I will end. I think this is a very long discussion. I cannot go on forever. 1 or 2 suggestions for ensuring port-led development. Not only we have mandated container berth, we also look at the possibilities of the advantage of having nearness to sea, I mean deep sea. Deep sea is a different term, he will object to it. I mean 20-meter deep sea or 25-meter deep sea from the southern coast, including Gopalpur and Bahuda, for having more SBM and more petro-based refineries and other industries in the South Odisha, because at present there is a concentration between Kandla port and Karachi port, which I believe from the security point of view is not the best thing for India, and we can divert a lot of it to this part. And very learned panelists, I cannot take more time. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. I'll request Mr. Subrat Tripathi. He has been talking not only about the development of ports, but also the logistic issue. He is very particular. So I'll request you to throw, and maybe where the interest can come from. So you can share that. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Fellow panelists, and especially very difficult to speak after the passion that Santosh Mahapatra sir brings in. Part of his passion was to pick me up and take me to Paradeep, and I think I didn't disappoint you, sir. Well, that's how it is. Honorable CM specified a few things. Primarily, the time for Odisha has actually arrived. I'm not going to speak about what has already been spoken, but to take a theme of the continuity, that this time, not just coinciding with 2036 Vikasit Odisha for 100 years, but it is normally said, when the idea for a time has come, nothing can stop it. Truly speaking, the idea of Odisha has arrived not just on the shores of eastern India, not on the shores of the Kalinga Sagar, which we say today, Bay of Bengal, but today, Odisha will be a beacon, because I'm not going to go into statistics, but the fact is that you are the fastest growing state, you have a surplus, also because you are a truly blessed land. Rarely will you find a land which has a coastline of 575 kilometers. I'm not going to do statistics, but it has a coastline. It has a hinterland which is so rich that it comprises nearly the entire mineral wealth of India, not just into the political boundaries of what exists in Odisha, but also across what Madam Usha referred in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, UP, parts of Bengal, and the Northeast India. So this captive large hinterland is not just one of the largest population bases, therefore a great driving consumer force, but also the richest in coal. Nearly 500 billion tons of coal are captured in this. Nearly the entire steel-making potential of India, barring a little in South and in Maharashtra, is captured in this hinterland. The entire aluminium, so all that it takes to make a fortuous cycle, you know, a cycle of prosperity as economists would refer, and coinciding what Rostov and Nobel Prize would say, a takeoff stage. It's not just about takeoff. Odisha has taken off. So when Honorable CM says, yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai, and I take a line what Chief Secretary says, we walk the talk, I will only say, swim the tide, catch the wind in your sails. Because this time, what is it about the ports? I am in agreement that the coastline of Odisha deserves to handle. If you really look at it, the coastline and the hinterland does nearly today, apart from the 220 million tons in Odisha, in the adjacencies coming from this hinterland, but for the presence of right connectivity you would actually be doing an additional 150 million tons minimum coming out from the states on the hinterland. So what is it that we need to do? The ports are well said. You have the deepest eastern seaboard. You are a part of the look east policy to ASEAN, which the Honorable Prime Minister keeps on repeating that Odisha will be the gateway indeed. Whether it is container cargoes, which will come out of a MSME and a manufacturing base, and my idea that should come in the next 3 to 5 years without a doubt. And when it does happen, we will not fail in building the most modern container berth, which happens to come out in Dhamra. But look at what it is all about. So India's port sector has 3 phases. One, which comes after independence. One, which comes before the PPA, the public-private partnership is unlodged. And one that comes after the PPP has been, kind of unleashed in India. And there are many sectors which have benefited, but the port sector particularly, as has been told, has benefited in Gujarat. But next, it has also benefited in Odisha with the presence of the Gopalpur and the Dhamra, and 2 of the ports aspiring to come, including Bahuda, which is being spoken about. The CAGR of the non-major ports is at about 9%. And when you look at the overall CAGR of maritime sector in India, which is 6% because it is kind of submerged into the 5% growth of the major ports. Now, I, for one, am not into a conflict into major and non-major. But I'm only prescribing that unleash the forces of a public-private participation, because this is the key to unlocking all that. What is it about? Build an efficient modern port. A port cannot stand in splendid isolation. A port has to stand with a submergence as an epicenter of its connectivity. So if you're looking at Paradeep, you're looking at NH, you're looking at the 2 rail important. If you're looking at Dhamra, you're looking at an economic corridor not just from Bhadrak to Dhamra, but from Talcher to Dhamra, from Talcher to Paradeep, from Keonjhar and the northern states, northern districts into Dhamra, Suvarnarekha, as well as Paradeep. These would be modern highways of prosperity. What are they? They are not merely restricted to just a road or a rail. The buzzword in Odisha today is an economic corridor. Now, what is an economic corridor? I have, at one point of time, a particular ROW, just an ROW of 200 meters, which satisfies a rail, a road, a pipeline, and the utilities to come. If this were to happen, and then you impose on this a model called the DMICT model, which is basically borrowing from the Delhi, Mumbai, or the Delhi, Gujarat industrial corridor model, along this corridor at every 150 kilometers, get in about 150 acres of land for making a port-led and a port-connected industrial ecosystem. That is how the ports in the world, when you talk about port-led industrialization, again I repeat, it's not standing in splendid isolation. It is about becoming a headway or a gateway for all that is behind it. Just the way you have a connectivity by a channel, you have a reverse connectivity by rail and road. If Odisha has lagged behind, it's only because of a certain connectivity, and this is being cured. How is it? Paradeep has been spoken of, my colleague Harnath has, and he will speak to you about. At Dhamra, connecting this vast mineral wealth, and then what do you have to do in Odisha today? It's like playing a jigsaw puzzle. You just have to connect the dots. It is as if said, when you connect the dots and you put all the jigsaws in place, you have unleashed that growth engine of India, which in 5 years should be the leading state. And this leadership will begin from a port-led development, because you will not just look at a port, you will look at a port in its adjacency behind cold chains, warehouses, connectivities, universities spawning personnel to do this. The whole arena of the entire maritime ecosystem, which goes on to prove what is a blue economy. Enough has been said in the world today, and it is an SDG goal of the United Nations, which India has vowed to follow. And in Odisha, when we say of a blue economy, Government of India defines it, as does economists, as a conjunction of economic growth, environmental sustainability, people's prosperity with national security, and exploiting an EEZ. Is it not a blessed land that you have minerals? Is it not a blessed land that the coastline of Odisha has the Suvarnarekha right up to the Nagavali, going beyond from the Rushikulya? When rivers flow into the sea, they become spawning grounds for fisheries, which means ports and adjacencies is all about employment and about people's prosperity. So for me, as a whole, port is a part of a larger blue economy in which economic development, logistics development, thereby reducing logistics cost and capturing the large market, replicating what has happened in Rotterdam, for example, in Shenzhen, for example, in Busan, for example, and in India. If I were to borrow an example, it is Mundra, which has been spoken about. What is it about? And our request, as Madam has often said, our request, please have a large land bank, and it's my pleasure and privilege to say today that the support that we get of Government of Odisha in creating a large land bank at Dhamra, as it has happened in Paradeep, and at Astarang, at Suvarnarekha, at Gopalpur, and as at Bahuda, each will become and spun a industry cluster. If in the north it is going to be chemicals and pharmaceuticals, and in Paradeep it is going to be the PCPIR, at Astarang it is going to open up the coal corridor, in Gopalpur it will be about ammonia, hydrogen, and in Bahuda, when it happens along with the adjacency, I look at Gopalpur and Bahuda as a one single piece because it's just 15 kilometers apart. So when we create this large maritime base and have a footprint, and then have an economic corridor from Rayagada to Gopalpur, from Talcher to Gopalpur, from Keonjhar to Badbil and Paradeep, and as well as from Talcher to Paradeep, and with the Atmanirbharta that Government of India is speaking by substituting an energy transition by doing coal itself, may the House know that last year, India required about 1,220 million tons of coal to produce its power. About close to 120 was produced by MCL. The vision document of 2030 speaks of 500 tons. So coastal shipping is the new area which Odisha is best poised to exploit. Whether it's a port, and I'm not here sitting in competition, I'm often asked, I think we play a complementary role between the ports of Dhamra, Paradeep, Gopalpur, and to the ports that will come about. So this complementarity between ourselves and the logistics puzzle that get unleashed, the connecting the mining and the industry, and then putting in the piece of coastal prosperity by fishing and fishing communities. We have not even talked about exploiting the EEZ of India, which goes into more than 2.4 million kilometers, half of it in the Bay of Bengal itself, and the rare earth minerals that we'll do. Is it just a coincidence that Odisha is also home to the rare earths, which is being talked about so passionately and closely in all of the world? So at Gopalpur, when we exploit the rare earth minerals, it's going to be a hub for fine and new age industries to come here. I will finally sign off when I come back for my position to say that when you do, it's also about employment. So Odisha Maritime Academy and the Crew Training Institute both have to produce ratings and ODIA personnel who will find their way into, because one of the avowed policies of Government of India is that you have what is the percentage of Indians participating in the shipping sector? I will not talk about the shipping tonnage, which is very limited. Captain Ashok Mahapatra will certainly elaborate on that. But about the presence of Indians as ratings in the world, just 12% today. Once upon a time, we ruled the seas, whether it was Kalingas or today. We wish to say this 12 has to be flipped and at least come to more than 25%. That is the vision. I look for a blue economy, prosperous, and a beautiful, strong Odisha that I look at. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure there will be questions subsequently. We'll take it up. Now I'll request Captain Mahapatra to say about his experience and focus mostly on, maybe because he has worked in a lot of security-related issues, safety-related issues. So I have been saying 5 minutes, but it is going more than 5 minutes, almost like double. So I request to restrict not more than 10 minutes, yeah.
No, madam, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it at 5. I will not speak. I'll bring the
You have to
passion
keep
temperature
very close to the...
Passion temperature a little down. We are talking of port-led development. It's only one sector of it for any development or any economy. One forgets that due to nature, whatever you call it, no country is self-sufficient in everything. there has to be trade. And that is where the things come in. And for that, shipping is the gearbox of the international world economy. I think shipping has been given a rather stepmotherly treatment by economists. I've never understood its importance. I would just say, take shipping away from the economy. As one of my Secretary Generals used to say, one half of the world would starve and the other half would freeze. And that is why you need ships which will feed into your port-developed economy. And having said that, now let us come to the Odisha. Subrat talked about the how Odisha is articulately placed primarily to service all the hinterland that is there. Yes. And it is a fact that in the past we were doing it. Somewhere down the line, during the colonial times, they went up to Calcutta by mistake, as far as I know from the British maritime history, and we got neglected. Now we have the time to recapture and really encourage people to come in. I'm also enthusiastic by the fact that you are bringing in the shipbuilding industry. That by itself will be a game changer, not only to go for the development, but the amount of ancillary industries that it will give. And let's be honest, it is mainly the small scale and the medium scale industries that give you employment. It's not the high ticket one. High ticket one comes in, but the ancillary industries generates the jobs and the economy. And for that, shipbuilding, ports, shipping, everything is absolutely necessary. And I think as a state, I think you have already said proactive through the Maritime Board as a single window clearance. And the investors, I think we should invite them, handhold their hands, sometimes, especially when it comes to the regulatory part, primarily because, I'm being a little critical here. In the Indian legal system, the legal regulatory affairs is written in little archaic language. Very often you find that there is a clause on which you have a note after the clause. If the people who have drafted it are not clear on it and they require a note, then imagine if I am going to comply with it, what is my state of affairs? And for this I'm giving a parallel what happened in the UK. We have developed the system from UK. If you look at the UK laws today, it is written in the plain language. It is no longer Lord Macaulay's language. So this is what we need to understand and appreciate. We have the potential. Subrat and Mr. Mahapatra have given a lot of details on volumes and connectivity and everything. I will not go into that. But yes, the state has a potential. It has the skills. And I'll take on the skills, I will take up the word from you that Bali Jatra people used to start off. You know what the sailors, they use the northeast monsoon winds to sail to Bali. Stayed in Bali and use the first phases of the southwest monsoon to reach home before the monsoon hit the state. So this is how skillful people in Orissa are. We need to develop our skills. We have the skills. We can develop not only the port and other, there are a lot of water bodies and this thing which can be developed on the tourism sector. But there again, if you want high-paying tourists, you have to also show quality. That, I think, in the skill development sector, we can do that and also sensitize the people who are going to run these as to how to run it properly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have maintained, on time. I must compliment for that. Now to Mr. Rinkesh Roy. He has been a friend and philosopher for maritime in the state. Why I am telling, when I joined the department, because I completely agree, the importance which needs to be given to shipping, suddenly we have realized very recently, otherwise it was not so much. So we had started, finalized the Odisha Maritime Board. So if you remember, I don't know, we had approached him to head the Odisha Maritime Board. By that time, I think it was our loss and JSW's gain. So now, in that context, I'll request what you think about Odisha Maritime Board and what needs to be done. Please, very candidly, you can discuss and suggest also. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and good evening to one and all. I always believe a picture says 1,000 words, so I have just got 5 slides somewhere. They can just show it. I can.
Somebody helping in putting the slides? Yeah? Okay, thank you.
What I wanted to show you is that while, as Mr. Tripathi showed us, that we have all the mineral wealth in the country, currently we only account for 2.6% of India's exports. So that's a reality check we need to have. Whereas states like Gujarat, 30%, Maharashtra around 17%. So that is one area where we really need to have a focus on, despite having all the right parameters in the maritime field.
You keep that mic also on, this one. Yeah. This one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So despite having all the right parameters, the right infrastructure, we figure only 2.6% of India's exports. And if you look at the maritime boards, Gujarat is at 200, in the first half year of this year, it's 238, Andhra 61, Maharashtra 33, we are at 25, 26. So we have a potential to reach third and second position in a short time. And I just wanted to show the audience that how our entire industry is really clustered. So you have Lapanga, Udipad, Jharsuguda, Sambalpur Industrial Zone. You have Joda, Dubri Industrial Zone. Number 3, you have Dhamra. Number 4, you have Paradeep. Number 5, you have got Angul, Meramandli, Cuttack. And then Rayagada, Damanjodi, Lanjigad. So you are basically having 6 major clusters across the state. And if you see the railway network, now this is very interesting. If you see the railway network again is all either north or south. So there's a huge chunk of land in the central area which is left untouched. And then if you move further ahead, and here I'll just point out one thing, this line you see between Gunpur and Singapore Road. Please note that line. So that is Gunpur Thiruvallി, basically Singapore ke just baad wala station is Thiruvallì. That's a missing link which has got sanctioned recently. So I'm just wanting to show you, and this is the line where we are having Khurda Road, Bolangir, and onwards into Khari. And these are the ports you are planning to set up where the state government has identified. But broadly, if you see, beyond Dhamra, all the ports you have, including Dhamra, they serve only Jharkhand and Bengal. All ports between Dhamra, Paradip, and South, they will be only serving at least up to Chhattisgarh. And unfortunately, as I told you, because of that line we don't have, all the 6th industrial zone, everything moves into Vizag. So your one cluster is out for you. Ports north of Bhadrak are only going to serve industrialization in West Bengal and in Jharkhand. So you have to create an environment, because otherwise the many ports that you are going to set up will only be competing with each other. That's the point I wanted to make. So it's a very suboptimal outlook that we'll have unless we concentrate on the railway corridors that are coming up. If you look again, out of the total container volumes in India, the East Coast accounts for hardly less than 20%. 80% plus is on the West Coast, which is again, if you see, despite having all the mineral wealth, we are only 3% of the exports. So the real EXIM traffic in containers doesn't come on the East Coast. It's deep south that you get Kattupalli, Chennai, or Tuticorin. You have the major concentration of containerized cargo. So what is it that is missing in our area? So what is missing is basically that our entire railway infrastructure has been built for carrying single stack containers. Whereas a new line like Haridaspur Paradip, which has been built to avoid any surface crossing, there easily you can make it a double stack container route at very least cost. So these are areas we need to focus, because that is going to serve the Kalinganagar area. So that will help us to develop. So in a nutshell, if you really look at development, port-led development, it also leads to a railway-led development. So wherever new railway lines come up, you have to demarcate land, create industrial environment for those areas. Second, as Mr. Tripathi was saying about corridor development. Third is most of these ports, if you look at it, they are going to compete for each other's cargo in the initial phase. So you have to look at plug and play ports. That is, you build the breakwaters, you do the dredging, then you ask whichever industry comes up, you take a terminal and build your industry. So you will have to move into a concept of a plug and play port, that you have to invest in breakwaters, the basic infrastructure. The other infrastructure of a terminal and all, that can come up through the private operator. Fourth is, wherever possible, short lead, let us focus on creating double stack container routes. Because this is the real economic change in the private investor looks for, that carrying 2 containers and paying for the price of 60%. So that is what will help us. Fifth is inland waterways. And as you all are rightly doing, is creating land for anchor industry near ports. I think if you really look at it, where we need a little bit of focus is on railway-led development. That on that Khurda-Bolangir line, please create more land banks so that industries can come. So that is all I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Though Honorable Chief Minister has left this place, he has left his Principal Secretary here. Shashwat Mishra, my colleague, is here. I am sure that he is listening all what you are saying. Certainly that would be the priority area where he will be having some coordination at the Honorable CM office. So a lot of clarity is there, and they have some good analysis. So I'm sure that all sitting here, industry, myself and him, will be able to take it forward. And we have a Kaustub there. Kaustub is our new CRC, Chief Commissioner Railway Coordination. So his job, I mean, that post was vacant for quite some time, so now he has joined. Hopefully the railway projects and linking it as a corridor, so we will be working towards that. Now, without wasting much time, I will request maybe Mr. Harinath, because Shashwat is also part of that policy which he brought as MSME secretary regarding a containerization. So with that you can mention, and if there are interested parties, I don't know who are the participants, you can also talk a little bit about that, and also the plan for Paradeep and what they can do. Okay.
Thank you, madam. Good evening to all of you. And as you know that the contribution of the logistics sector in 2024 to the GDP is about 18% in India. That means roughly it amounts to $320 billion. It is expected to grow by 2030 to $760 billion. That means 2.5 times approximately the logistics will go up. So this is the right time to invest in logistics. There is no other right time to invest in logistics. So as far as ports are concerned, so normally ports, there are 4 important things which normally every port should look for. One is the capacity augmentation. So Paradeep Port is working very seriously on this. Today we have 18 berths. Next year we will be adding 5 more berths. Then by 2030 we will be going up to 28 berths. That means 10 more new berths will be added to it. You see how the capacity will go from 289 million tons, it will go up to roughly about 400 million tons by another 5 to 6 years. So all the proposals are in the final stage of approval or in tendering process, or 5 berths will be completed next year. Then second is the mechanization. So mechanization, already we have 80% mechanization. Why? How the mechanization will help the port as well as the customer. For the customer also it is very important, because during the mechanization, his cargo losses will be very, very minimal. His cost of operation will be minimal, so tariff will be less. The turnaround time of the vessel is high because the productivity will be high. Normal semi-mechanized berths, roughly about 15,000, 20,000 cargo is handled in a day at a berth. It shoots up to 70, 80,000 tons if you mechanize the same berth. So we are going to have 100% mechanization by 2030. We are Paradeep, after having achieved the volume leadership. As you know that we are the #1 cargo handling major port of the country for the last 2 years. After having achieved the volume leadership, now we want to move towards the value creation. So value creation can be in terms of many things. First one is we have to provide services to the customers the way they want. We have to create an ecosystem of comfort and convenience for the customer. The vessel should not wait. Vessel should come the moment it is ready, within 1 to 1.5 hours it should be berthed. That is the process of capacity augmentation we are trying to do. We are augmenting the entire system so that we will be able to provide the world-class best-in services to the customer. Second important thing we have done is the diversification of cargo basket. Traditionally, Paradeep Port concentrated only 2 cargoes, that is iron ore and coal. We were able to get enough cargoes. In fact, the Paradeep Port has clocked for the last 4 years 9.5% CAGR against the Indian ports average of over 6%. Now, we have a huge container cargo available in and around Paradeep. We have surveyed about 2 lakh TEUs are available every year. In fact, the container which is located in the Paradeep fishing harbor goes all the way to Vizag for export. He is spending about 1 lakh rupees per container. If it is handled at Paradeep, he spends only 10,000 rupees. That means the logistic cost of the particular exporter will come down substantially. He will gain in the process. So we had at present a berth which is not exclusively for container berth, but the container liners are not interested to come to Paradeep, because normally you know that container business is dictated by container liners. So they come to Vizag, they go to Haldia, they don't visit us, they don't call on us, because they are getting anyhow the cargo which is originated from near Paradeep, anyhow they are getting to Vizag or Haldia, but the cost goes into the pocket of the exporter or importer. So This has been brought to the notice of government of Orissa. I must thank, because in fact Orissa is the only maritime state which has provided this type of support to a major port. In fact, last 1.5 to 2 years, they have been able to give me VGF, because we had a big meeting of container liners. I think Usha Padeji was there, then Hemant Sharma ji was there. So we discussed in detail, and for them to start an ecosystem, so they said minimum 250 containers are required for becoming their call commercially viable. So initially we were not getting 250 containers per each call. So government of Orissa came forward and they were giving $200 for every empty slot which has gone in the call. As a result, within 6 months, the MSA, I must thank MSA also, MSA has come, it is connecting now. Within 6 months, so the containers which are handled in each call has gone up to 500, 600, even 1,000 not being handled now. So no VGF was actually required to begin practically now. So last financial year, 24-25, in the history of Paradeep, for the first time, we started EXIM containers. So that was basically, I must thank government of Orissa, we as well as my team, Paradeep also, for having achieved this. Third important thing which I will just want to see in any port now, the most important thing is the smart infrastructure, the technological depth, without which the ports cannot work in the old ancient models of systems. So the Paradeep port is going in a big way to make it a smart port. We are developing an artificial intelligence-based harbor management, which is in the very final stage of implementation. So we have developed, India made for the first time most advanced vessel traffic management information system, which was developed by the IIT Chennai with a solid state radar. There was no other port in India where solid state radar is there, because that actually captures even the movement of mammals in the seas up to 20 nautical miles. So that kind of system we have achieved. Third thing what we are trying to do is we are trying to achieve the low carbon logistics, the movement towards the green port. So this is important because today the digitalization and decarbonization are the two buzzwords every port has to go for, without which they cannot sustain for longer periods of years and with this kind of traffic. So we are working, in fact, we have signed today itself an MOU with NTPC, where in Paradeep, the first port where we are going to develop 1 megawatt hydrogen production. We are giving land free of cost to NTPC. Then all the buses which are playing inside the Paradeep, in and around the Paradeep, we will purchase buses around spending about 15 to 20 crores, green hydrogen powered fueled buses, and we will move all the buses a green hydrogen bus to start an ecosystem. And also by next year, by 26 April, the Paradeep will become the first Indian port to have 1 million tree coverage. In the last 4 years, we could plant 4.5 lakh trees, and then we will be, March or April, we will be completing 5 lakhs. So we'll totally will become 1 million tree coverage. And also, you know that out of the total ports, 3 ports were notified as hydrogen hubs in India, out of which Paradeep is one. And Paradeep, with the support of again government of Orissa, because we don't have land inside for giving land to production of green hydrogen, that government of Orissa will give in and around Paradeep, because Paradeep is the ideal location for green hydrogen production, because they get a fresh water from Mahanadi. The cost of desalination will not be there. So that's why we are having a exclusive green hydrogen terminal which handles export and bunkering of this. These are some of the areas we are working. And Paradeep is becoming the East Coast engine, which is going to drive the economic development and growth of not only Orissa in special, but entire East Coast in general. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I ask Industry Secretary for concluding remarks, I'll request Mr. Thakur Saab to talk about Damra very briefly.
Thank you so much. A very good evening to all of you. Thank you. So we talk about all this perspective for the 2047. What I like to highlight some of the issues is the challenges and opportunities both for the Odisha and for the nation. So first I would like to give some data. So presently our handling or operating capacity at India is we are handling at 1600 million metric ton. And if you put the three ports or operational ports of Odisha, we are handling somewhere 210 to 120 million metric ton, which is roughly 13% cargo that we are handling by volume. And what today morning we were listening, that by 2047, Government of India says we want to touch 10 billion million ton. So if we want to make our market share intact, I was just noting what should be our share. So 13% means 1.3 billion the major port and my non-major port put together we have to handle. And this gives a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, there are a lot of challenges that we would like to address. Otherwise, we have a very ambitious plan as a country and as a state. So what I understood from Honorable CM that Odisha has already set a tone for the non-major port for the 500 million metric ton, which itself is a very ambitious, and we are very thankful to the state that since the goal is high, naturally all the port has to be in line with that. So it is a 6 times what I understand the growth would be in next 20 years. So just to put that perspective from Dhamra is a non-major port, we are handling at 60 million metric ton right now. So our aspiration is also to go beyond 300 million metric ton, and for that we already having a environment clearance of 300 million metric ton by now. By 2030 we are crossing 120 million metric ton as an operating capacity, and we are crossing 150 million metric ton by 2036 when our state is completing their 100 years. And in the same manner, we have set target to cross 300 million metric ton by 2047. So here the challenges are coming, which I would like to highlight. Most of our concession agreement, when it was designed or when it was drafted, it was for some limited period. So I think most of the non-major port, they are having a limited period of 30 years or 35 years, in which is extendable on a mutual agreement. So my request to the government is, since we are having a large vision of 2047, so if we would like to invest more, then definitely we also want that some, not only the satisfaction, but surety also that our concession agreement will go on. So that is one request that I would like to make, because it's a very ambitious plan, and by 2036, the investment of Dhamra port itself is a 21,000 crore. So these are some massive investment that the port is making. So that is one challenges or I would like to highlight. The another things is that the non-major port, they have grown from 7.5% in 1994-95 to 45% by now. And there are a lot of opportunities are there for the non-major port, so they can grow from 45% to more. So again, my request to the government and all the authorities is that we have to mutually decide the way forward, that what should be the controlling mechanism by which non-major port should manage all this security angle and all these compliances, but at the same time, there is freedom to expand. So what I understand from Mahapatra Sahib is that beyond a limit, it's difficult for expansion. So let us continuously thrive so that all the expansion plan, what we are today discussing, are continuously, and there are no roadblocks. So that is what I just would like to point out. The another parameters which I would like to highlight is the climate change, and that is the biggest issue today what port is facing. So I'm sure all the ports have observed this. The 6-month duration, right from April, it started the monsoon and till today it is raining. So this is one of the biggest challenges as a port industry. Not only as a port industry, the vessels waiting. So what I understood from Captain Saab is that we are not talking about the vessels more. The vessel waiting period is increasing only and only because I cannot handle in my port, because working vessel itself has their hatch is closed. So the moment I will start operating then I can take the another vessel. So this is another big challenge, which is as a country we have to think. So maybe we have to think not only the modernization of the port, but we have to see all-weather port. So the new technology, so I also seek opportunity that those who are investors also can come forward and can give a solution to the port, that during even rainy seasons, how best we can handle the vessels. That is what rightly the demand for the port segment. One more point I would like to highlight is a level playing field. So with all due respects, there are a lot of advantage or there are a lot of funds are available to all these major ports. So same we are seeking as a non-major port that even if we are ready to give the interest, but something has to be given because what Mahapatra Sahab in the first session he says that you should have a deep pocket and you should have a lot of patience also. So I completely agree, sir. This is having a long gestation for this port as a business. So we also urge to the government that though we are continuously investing, but this point to be looked into that so that there should not be any additional financial burden and we can easily build the port, the capacity what nation is wanting. So just to give you a numbers that Dhamra Port has already set. So BB4, BB5, the two important export terminal that we are building only to handle this RSR coal, because this is the good opportunity which was Tripathi Sahab was mentioning, that MCL, they have a good volume that they would like to start making. At the same time, there is a lot of opportunity and demand in the south and in the east coast. So the port in Odisha should now take this assignment to match between demand and supply. So that is the 30 million metric ton ambitious terminal we are building. At the same time, we are building BB6 and BB7, the two import terminal for all our steel industries. So what I understood from Honorable CM, that we are continuously expanding our steel industries. And coking coal and limestone is one of the major ingredients for this steel that we are doing for 27 million metric ton. At the same time, so what Mahapatra sir, you are referring for this container, we understand is industrialization has been increased in the Odisha and the nearby state. Now we have to export the product. So Roy Saab also was telling that Odisha should have more export orientation. So that is how we are building the Southport terminal for break bulk and for the container terminal. So we are continuously marching towards that. And the most important things that I would like to highlight is all these future vessels which are on the drawing board, which are all coming with 2 lakh TWT and more. That means we should have a very deep draft port. So all our future ports should have that. All these channels, turning circles, and for that we require another aspects of high capacity dredgers. So those who are already there in the business is a great business opportunity for this port maintenance that there is continuously we require some maintenance dredging. So first while building the port, it is the capital dredging, and for that we all know that we are today reliable, or you can say dependable on all this foreign crew. So how we can have our own crew. So that is why sir was telling about we should have our own crews, whether it is for our own merchandise vessel or whether it is for our own dredgers or whether it is for our own tugs. So that is another aspect that is a big challenge that we need to do it. So these are all these aspects. So first let us complete this, because otherwise the ambitious plan what we are making today for 2047, unless we touch all these things, it looks difficult, or rather it is more challenging. So I'm sure we must do that. Last but not least, what Harnath Sahab has touched, I completely endorse his view. The future is a digitalization, and future is to make completely paper-free organization. So everybody will come to a common platform, whether it's a vessel charterer or whether it's a vessel owner or whether it's a port operator or cargo owner. Everybody will be on the same page, and that is how the data will start exchanging, and that will only make more predictable way of handling the port operation, more efficient port, and that is what the demand for the 2047. So I'm hoping that we all put together will build a great nation as India and great state as Odisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We can take 1 or 2 questions because I had promised that, okay, we'll allow you very quickly. Yeah, maybe the first the gentleman there. So we'll take the questions, all 3 together, and we'll allocate whoever is
Sir,
willing to answer.
my name is Devdutt from Tata Consulting Engineers. My question is to Chairman of Paradip Port. Sir, when is your outer harbour expansion taking off? Because we had a plan earlier, for which we wanted to give the consultancy for, but I understand that it was deferred. So when it will likely to take off?
Thank you. As I said, by first we are concentrating on.
I think we'll take the questions together, okay? Kapil Mohan sir, please be there. Just you have sat through entire thing. Just 2 more minutes. Maybe I will have the honor of felicitating you also. Sir is from Karnataka Maritime Board. So he just retired, and so, I mean, he has helped us in recruiting the people for our Odisha Maritime Board. Sorry for stopping you, sir. Maybe next 5-10 minutes, because you have been there encouraging us throughout. One more question, please. Yeah. Yeah, pass on the mic to him.
Good afternoon. My name is Raj Singh. I am from Antara River Cruising. We do river cruising in Orissa. And my question is to the government of Orissa. My question is, government of Orissa, with all the money, with all the resources, have any plans of rejuvenating its inland waterways, leaving aside the government of India? Because there are many rivers which are under the states. Is there any plans for building any infrastructure? Because once it is done, then only we can operate river cruises there and connect the hinterland or interiors. So employment or anything can be connected that way. So that would be the thing that, from my perspective, to look into it in the long-term or short-term perspective. Just to also let you know, the cruises which we are running actually have been acknowledged and awarded some of the most best cruises of its kind by international organizations in Orissa. Perhaps if you are not aware of it, I would like to make you aware of it.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you. You have been engaged with Odisha. We will certainly listening to you, and I'll answer also if time permits. One more last question. There was somebody. Otherwise, it's, yeah, very quickly.
Yeah, I won't take much of time. Myself, Captain Rakesh. I have no involvement for this. I am from ExxonMobil. I was working for some other thing. I just heard there is something from Odisha, so that's why I came here and said last 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Because I am from Odisha.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to know, we are talking lots of things on bulk, break bulk, all this thing, where we are with low carbon solution, especially LNG, because LNG is a transitional fuel. I know Dhamra port has started with Total, but they haven't done at all maybe a 1 MTPA, whereas the port is 5 MTPA. And what about LNG bunkering? That is the next generation which is coming. And I can see, because I am working for a US firm, I can see that Odisha is missing the train there.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Raj Singh, we are interested, certainly wherever the private people are interested to operate the cruise and all, we will be trying to help them with the jetties and other minimum infrastructure, whatever is required. Okay, that is the quick answer to you. We'll talk to you after this meeting. You are trying to answer those questions. You just quickly, you can answer.
Just quickly, there is no time. So first we are concentrating on developing the capacity within the breakwater. We are adding around 9 berths extra, 9 to 10 berths within the breakwater. This will be completed by 2030. Afterwards, by 2036, then we will be planning for the outer harbor, because it requires a huge investment of breakwaters. So, but this is all in the plan, and we are going to become by 2040, 500 half billion major port by 2040.
Thank you. I'll request now my team to felicitate the speakers, and I'll also request.
There was a question on LNG, ma'am.
Very quickly, you can say.
Yeah, I'll just clarify. Dhamra LNG is working good. Devendra Bhai, you can clarify. It's working. We've got vessels calling. The connectivity, which is most important. And we've also done LNG vessels at Dhamra together with Tata. The second, and there's only LNG berth over here with Total. The second LNG terminal that will come in Orissa through PLL at Gopalpur port will commence in less than 3 years. That's what, yeah.
Thank you so much. You might have seen the program when initially we published. Our Honorable Minister Commerce and Transport was also supposed to be here, Mr. Bibhuti Jana. He couldn't come, but he has conveyed the greetings. And the best is that he had identified one of his local artisan to create a small memento, which we will be sharing with the speakers. He said one local boy who prepared some wooden art. So this is a handcrafted a piece of art from Odisha, which represents the shipping and coastal, the maritime. So I request our team members to felicitate each one of our speakers. Thank you so much. Yeah. Quickly, Mr. Suprut Tripathi. Yeah, we can also go together there, yes, that's a good idea. But Hemant, you have to last concluding remarks maybe at the end. Come. Yeah, one more person also can come, please. I mean, all of you who have contributed, who have worked hard, please come on the dais and distribute. Thank you. And here also, please. Okay, here to sir. Yeah. Sir, sir, anko de do. Yeah, we'll take. Okay. So who have not received Mr. Harinathan? You received? Okay. Okay. Sir, Shri Kapil Mohan sir, please. I'll request Industry Secretary to felicitate him. Ma'am, VC Barampur, she has come all the way to sign the MOU. Please come on the stage. Thank you. I'll request everyone to stand for a minute. We can have a, sir, please be there when we'll have a group photo. And I'll request Industry Secretary to felicitate VC Barampur University. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And please stand here for the picture. Thank you, everyone. I'll request one memento for the Industry Secretary. Thank you, Hemant, for all the support. Thank you. I'll request Industry Secretary Shri Hemant Sharma to very briefly just share his concluding remarks. Thank you, everyone.
I know we have run out of time, but I'll do my duty in summing up this session in as brief words as possible. First of all, sincere thanks and gratitude to all our fellow panelists. They are all stalwarts of the port industry, and you heard from each one of them their valuable suggestions which come from years of experience and from perception which has been gathered by that experience. We have noted all the suggestions, and we'll certainly take care of those, we will take note of those suggestions when we are formulating our policies and programs on behalf of the government of Orissa in future. As you heard from the Honorable Chief Minister in the inaugural session as well as in his address during this session, Orissa has a lot of potential on development of ports. Now, ports are not always related to a particular state. The latest example, one of the most well-known examples is Vizhinjam port, the terminal which has come up at Vizhinjam in Kerala. Now that port is not meant for Kerala. While it is in Kerala, it hardly serves Kerala because there is hardly any industry to be served by the Vizhinjam port in Kerala. Similarly, JNPT port in Mumbai, it is not about Mumbai. It is not even about Maharashtra. It is about a very long, large hinterland. It serves that hinterland even up to Orissa. Therefore, ports in Orissa are not meant for Orissa only. They are meant for the larger regional and even pan-Indian development. We have that picture clearly in our mind. All that the government of Orissa is trying to do is that if industries in Orissa need a port, that port should first be available in Orissa. That is part A of our plan. Number two, if there is a port in Orissa and it lacks cargo, and if it is possible to develop industry in Orissa which can add to the cargo of that port, we are trying to do that. So we are trying to bring business to our existing ports. We are also trying to bring ports for our existing businesses. That is the larger strategy. Orissa has a lot of potential. Why? Because we have virgin locations, we have good policies. Ports, standalone, they really don't serve much purpose. Just as one of the speakers was mentioning, unless you have hinterland connectivity, unless you have efficient modern railway connectivity, road connectivity, and also efficient port logistics services, this picture doesn't get complete. So we are also conscious of this. Our Orissa Maritime Board is actually looking at this in a very holistic manner. While we are looking at new port locations, we are also looking at new hinterland locations to be connected to these ports. So with these words, we once again extend our thanks and gratitude to not only all the panelists who came all the way and gave your valuable suggestions, but also to the members of the audience who sat through this session with patience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll conclude this session. We are here, my team member, myself, we are here for some time. If anybody has any specific queries or interaction, we will be here sitting in the sofa. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.